Do I even need an intro here? Modern Horizons 2 is one of the most expensive Magic the Gathering sets, like, ever, with collector booster boxes selling for upwards of $435 per box of 12 packs. That's like nearly $40 a pack. Draft boosters are going for about $300 a piece. Now, if you have a way you can draft, the experience is certainly amazing, but just buying packs to rip wrappers because you want an old border chainer, Nightmare Adept, it's selling for $2. Just buy the singles you want, especially if what you want are cards for Commander. Presented here are the 5 best Commander cards from Modern Horizons 2. The singles I feel just about every Commander player should really consider picking up and playing with. But don't buy Modern Horizons for Commander, just buy these 5 cards instead. Before we begin, a quick word about this video. This video is brought to you by Mercari, the fast and easy way to buy and sell, well, just about anything. I've actually been using Mercari a lot lately to sell old collectibles that I just have laying around the office. How else am I going to pay for the boxes and boxes of Modern Horizons 2 that I'm going to buy and rip open despite the advice of this video? You are probably asking. Well, Mercari lets you list your items for free and sell whatever cool collectible you are looking to list. Just add a few photos, add a description, and set your price. And you can sell anything, but especially collectibles such as Digimon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh collectible cards, Smosh Up, Pokemon cards, used card sleeves, the Evil Baby Orphanage game, FU Trauma action pieces from 1999. I paid $4, but now could be worth more. Bartman, Xener, the Warrior Princess. If you know who that is, you're over 30. Manic the Gorthering. I hear it's fun. How people learned things before the internet. Novelty poker cards. Novelty coffee mug. Mercari is really great for selling all of that and more, as it offers one of the lowest commission rates in the industry, and for buying there's a money-back guarantee, so receive your item as described or get your money back. Mercari is free to download and available on iOS and Android. Use my link below to download the Mercari app for yourself, and thank you again to Mercari for sponsoring this video. Now, let's see what singles I think you should buy from Modern Horizons 2 for Commander. There's a lot of awesome new legendary creatures that'll make for cool commanders from this set, and this video will look at none of them. That's right, I want to talk only cards in the 99. So if I do discuss a legendary, it is not as a commander, but rather as a part of a commander deck. I'll also be looking for the top commander cards that apply to the most people. In other words, the cards that go in the most decks. So while, for example, there's some amazing new toys for Enchantment Matters decks, I feel that's too narrow to earn a spot on the list. Sorry, Sithis. I absolutely love you, but I'm looking for the best new commander cards overall. We're casting a wide net, and in so doing, I have an honorary mention before I hit my top 5 picks. Profane Tutor. This is a sorcery in black that doesn't have a mana cost. You're gonna have to suspend it to cast it. For 1 generic and a black, rather than cast this card from your hand, you exile it with 2 time counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove a time counter, and when the last is removed, cast it without paying its mana cost. And Profane Tutor searches your library for a card, puts that card in your hand, and then has you shuffle your library. So look, this is basically Demonic Tutor that you have to wait around for. But in Commander, in case you hadn't noticed, games tend to go long, and Suspend 2 is not that big a drawback for you to essentially have 2 Demonic Tutors in your singleton deck. There's no better tutor in black than Demonic, and now Profane comes to a close second, because like Demonic, you can grab literally any card. You do not have to reveal it, and it goes right into your hand instead of on top of your library. So while some black alternatives like Vampiric operate at instant speed, I'd personally rather just deal with the Suspend 2 and get it right into my hand. Tutors themselves have come under a lot of scrutiny in Commander lately, and while I find myself leaning more into the school of thought that tutors might actually have a negative effect upon the game, I cannot deny their extreme utility and usefulness, now made all the more consistent thanks to Profane Tutor. My honorable mention. But let's get this actual list started, and what do I have at number 5? One of the more mind-blowing, I can't believe they did this cards in the form of Yavy Maya, Cradle of Growth. This is a legendary land that reads, each land is a forest in addition to its other land types. Say what? This is a green Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth. Or rather, since both are lands and technically colorless, I should more correctly say it's a forest version of Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth. What it is as well is a new near staple for just about anybody in multicolor green decks. Just as with Urborg, Yavy Maya will give you a great fixing for decks with 2 or more colors, especially if a lot of your cards have a heavy green mana requirement. And it's got the added advantage of letting you just tap everything from fetchlands to City of Brass for a green mana without losing any life, should you be in a tight spot late game. If you have creatures with Forest Walk, they can easily overrun opponents whose lands are also now all forests. Or if you both have money to burn and absolutely no moral conscience, then you can cast Acid Rain for the LOLs. Sadly, the existence of Boil and Flash Fires has already led to comments from design that the rest of this cycle is unlikely, which has my many merfolk most sad, as a blue version would be amazing for all my little fishies. So until their minds are changed, we'll just have to make do with the effect in black and green. Swamp and forest. Coming in at number 4 as a must-have for Commander is Ursus Saga, the enchantment land. As Ursus Saga enters, and after your draw step, you add a lore counter. As you know, sagas are one of my favorite card types. I gush all about them and their brilliance in development here. And Ursus Saga is no different, or actually it's even cooler, because this enchantment land doesn't cost anything to play. You just play it like you would a land. It right away gains to tap to add for a colorless, but with the second chapter, Ursus Saga gains spend 2 generic and tap to create a 0/0 colorless construct artifact, with this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. But the real thriller is Chapter 3, where you search your library for an artifact card with mana cost 0 or 1, and put it not into your hand, but onto the battlefield. It's an artifact tutor on a land. Never mind the creature, which can either be a nice chump or potentially a big beater in the right deck. My main obsession with this is that it can go into any deck and grab a swath of useful artifact items, all while providing some mana for you while you wait. The 0 or 1 cost artifacts of EDH are numerous. Get your Soul Ring or a Skull Clamp for combo, Jeweled Lotus or your Sensei's Divining Top. The reason I like this card so much is that, while obviously any artifact-heavy deck is going to love this, it's still a very valuable, very useful staple for pretty much any deck. So long as you have several tutorable artifacts, which, given how most EDH decks are constructed, is highly, highly likely. There's also a lot of ways to recur this from the graveyard, from Restore to Crucible of Worlds, and many, many more in between. If you get even a little recursion going with this, it can put you at an advantage. Singleton formats are all about dealing with a lack of consistency, and tutors help make them more consistent. Ursus Saga is definitely one of those subtle advantages that's going to go a long way in Commander. Coming in at number 3 is Sword of Hearth and Home. Maybe it's just that I've developed a bit of a thing for swords in Commander lately, but this newest blade to the armory of swords really caught my attention. For 3 mana of any color, you can equip for 2. An equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from green and from white. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, exile up to 1 target creature you own, then search your library for a basic land card. Put both cards onto the battlefield under your control, then shuffle. Basically, this is giving you a blink effect on a creature and also ramping, a huge effect to be able to add if you are playing in colors that often struggle to do either of these things. While of course the enter the battlefield effects of the blink are situational, Commander is a format where it is highly likely that your deck is running quite a few with powerful enter the battlefield effects. And getting to double dip every time this sword hits can prove to be fun fun for you and overwhelming for your opponents. Protection from green and white is great, as white is where a lot of removal tends to come from, and green is often the color of big scary creatures. While I still would almost always grab a Sword of Feast and Famine if I could only include a single sword in my deck, I usually like to put in several, and Hearth and Home stands tall above most of the rest. There's no question in my mind that this is one of the 3 best swords, possibly even second best, and it's a new staple in most of my decks. So what are my top 2 picks as all-around staple cards for the 99 in Commander from Modern Horizons 2? Coming in at number 2 is a card that is going to make you say damn, because the card is called Damn. Damn is double black for a sorcery that reads destroy target creature. A creature destroyed this way can't be regenerated, but wait, you can overload it for 2 generic and double white, making this say destroy each creature. Move over Damnation, take a seat Wrath of God. Damn is possibly one of the best creature wipes in the format now due to its extreme versatility. The overload cost is the same converted mana cost as Wrath of God or Damnation, and while it carries with it the can't be regenerated clause, the versatility of just using this as a 2 CMC spot removal for a creature of any color for double black is such a huge advantage. The only issue with this card, of course, is the fact that you need both black and white mana to cast it, and double pips for each at that. So no, mono white and mono black decks will still have to stick with their Damnation and Wrath of Gods, but those of us in Orzhov and up might straight up swap out for a solid Damn, a brand new staple for those color combinations. What an apt name, Damn. So what do I think is the number 1 biggest new staple for Commander from Modern Horizons 2? Well, look at that, it's mono white, because wow, Wizards of the Coast has been course correcting in that color lately, and this card is one that I think is an overwhelming addition to just about any deck in white, and that's Esper Sentinel. For a single white mana, you get an artifact creature, a human soldier, that reads whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, draw a card, unless that player pays X, where X is Esper Sentinel's power. Reminiscent of Rhystic Study in terms of function, Smothering Tithe in terms of its irritation, and making monologue tax already irrelevant, the initial drawback on this card of only hitting the first non-creature spell of each turn is easily negated by the fact that there are just so many ways to ramp this card's power up above 1. At only 1 white, this can be slotted into mono white to 5 color and every combination in between. Just imagine how out of control this can get with a simple boost of +2. That conditional becomes a lot less conditional as endless enchantments and auras and lord effects come into play, and there are so many in Commander that will affect this, thus taxing our opponents who, as with Study and Tithe, are likely going to say to heck with it and never bother to pay. It's an instant staple and my number 1 pick from Modern Horizons 2 for Commander. But now I want to hear from you. What are the best Commander cards from Modern Horizons 2, not just in terms of awesome legendary creatures for Commander, but cards that can be part of the 99? Let me know in the comments below if you think there's an item I should have added to this list. And special thanks again to Mercari for sponsoring this video. Remember, Mercari is a great online marketplace for everything from collectibles, such as cards, to other fine and fantastic things. So why not check out Mercari today? It's free to download and available on iOS and Android. Use my link below to download the Mercari app yourself.
Can I call you back? I just ran into an old friend. Professor! You paisley old rogue!
Teferi, you guy that I like.